You know what? I quit. I hit send before common sense could catch up. Then I took another drink. My friend Mason leaned across the bar and squinted at my phone. Please tell me you did not just text your boss. I texted my CEO. That is dramatically worse. I looked at the message thread again. There were already 12 messages from me, and apparently drunk Cody had decided 12 wasn't enough. You treat everyone like they're disposable. Send. You canceled my presentation without even asking me why the numbers changed. Send. Also, your motivational emails sound like they were written by a robot with trust issues. Send. Mason reached for my phone. I pulled it away. Give me that. No. I'm finally being honest. You called her a beautifully dressed corporate dictator 3 messages ago. She is beautifully dressed. That is not helping your case. I ignored him and typed another message. And stop looking at me like I personally ruined capitalism every time I'm 5 minutes late. Send. Mason covered his face. My CEO, Madeline Cross, had a reputation at Sterling Dynamics. People lowered their voices when she walked past. Vice presidents prepared for meetings with her like they were entering court. She never yelled. Somehow that made her worse. I had worked directly under her strategy division for 18 months, and for 18 months I'd convinced myself I could handle it. Apparently 3 Bourbons had produced a different opinion. My phone buzzed. Madeline Cody? I laughed. She replied. Mason immediately stood. I'm calling you a cab. I typed back. Oh, now you know my name. Send. Her typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. I should have stopped. Instead, I wrote the message that ended my career. I'm serious. I quit. Find somebody else to stay until midnight fixing decks because you changed your mind at 8:47 p.m. Send. Another message followed. And for the record, your coffee order is ridiculous. Mason grabbed my wrist. What does her coffee have to do with anything? Everything. Go home, Cody. I vaguely remembered dropping cash on the counter, arguing that I was perfectly capable of walking, then getting shoved into a rideshare. After that, nothing. The next morning, my skull felt like somebody had rented it out for construction. I reached for my phone without opening my eyes. 49 notifications. I groaned. Then I saw the name. Madeline Cross, 47 messages. I sat upright, so fast the room tilted. No. I unlocked the screen. Her first reply had arrived at 12:18 a.m. You're right about the presentation. The second, I shouldn't have canceled it without hearing you out. Third, and yes, I changed things too late. Fourth, your robot comment was rude. Fifth, unfortunately accurate. I rubbed both hands over my face. This was bad. Then I kept scrolling. Message 11. I notice when you're late because I notice when you're not there. My thumb stopped. Message 14. I know your coffee order too. Medium cold brew, no syrup, splash of oat milk. Message 18. You tap your pen against your thumb when you're irritated with me. Message 21. You think I don't listen? I listen to everything you say. My hangover suddenly became secondary. What the hell? I scrolled faster. Message 26. You are the only person in senior strategy who argues with me when you think I'm wrong. 27. I hate that I like that about you. My stomach tightened. 31. You smiled at Jenna from legal yesterday, and I spent 20 minutes pretending that didn't bother me. I read that one twice. 32. That sounded jealous. 33. It was jealous. I nearly dropped the phone. By message 37, she had apparently stopped pretending any of this was normal. I've liked you for 9 months. 38. Maybe 10. 39. Actually, 11. The Denver conference. I whispered, no way. 40. You gave me your jacket because the ballroom was freezing, then spent the next hour pretending you weren't cold. 41. I still have it. My phone slipped lower in my hand. I remembered that conference. I had assumed she'd forgotten the jacket existed. Message 43. You cannot quit while drunk. 44. You can quit sober if you still want to. 45. I hope you don't. 46. This is humiliating. And finally, 47. But if you're going to blow up our professional relationship at midnight, I'm allowed to be honest too. I'm in love with you, Cody. I stopped breathing normally. For almost a minute, I just sat there reading the last line again. My CEO, Madeline Cross, the woman who once sent back a 40-page proposal because the executive summary used the word very 3 times, was in love with me. My phone buzzed again. Message 48. Come to my office. Now. I checked the time. 8:11 a.m. I was already 11 minutes late. Perfect. 26 minutes later, I stepped out of the elevator on the 42nd floor wearing yesterday's headache and the first clean shirt I could find. Our receptionist, Hannah, spotted me. Her eyebrows went up. Not a little. All the way up. "Morning, Cody." "Morning." She glanced toward Madeline's office. Then back at me. "Good luck." That was not what I wanted to hear. I lowered my voice. "Does everyone know?" "Know what?" The way she said it told me she knew something. I walked past her. Madeline's assistant, Rachel, stood outside the corner office holding a tablet. "She canceled the executive meeting," Rachel said. "Why?" "For you." My heartbeat kicked harder. Rachel opened the door. Madeline stood behind her desk with her arms folded. No blazer. White blouse, sleeves rolled up. Her hair was tied back badly enough that I knew she'd probably done it herself. She had 2 coffees on the desk. One was mine. I closed the door behind me. 47 messages. Her expression tightened. "You sent 14. I was drunk." "So was I." That stopped me. "You were drunk." 2 glasses of wine. That is not drunk. For me, it apparently is. I pointed at her phone. "You told me you were in love with me." "Yes." "You told me you kept my jacket." "Yes." "You admitted you were jealous of Jenna." Her jaw flexed. "I regret including Jenna." I let out a disbelieving laugh. "That's the part you regret?" "No. I regret all 47 messages." "Great. But not because they weren't true." That wiped the smile off my face. Madeline came around the desk. Not close enough to touch me. Close enough that I could tell she was nervous. Madeline Cross did not get nervous. "Cody, I handled this badly." "You think?" "I'm aware." "And what exactly happens now?" "You decide whether your resignation was real." "And the other thing?" Her voice softened. "The other thing doesn't require an answer today." That was somehow worse. Because if she had pressured me, I could have gotten angry. Instead, she picked up my coffee and held it out. "You have every right to leave," she said. "I won't punish you for last night. I won't touch your review, your bonus, or your references." I took the cup. Then my phone buzzed. A Slack notification. Then another. Then 6 at once. Madeline checked hers. Her face changed. "What?" She didn't answer immediately. I opened the company channel. Someone had posted a screenshot. Not all 47 messages. Only 3. "I notice when you're not there. I hate that I like that about you. I'm in love with you, Cody." The post had already been deleted, but not before half the company saw it. My stomach dropped. Madeline's phone rang. She checked the caller ID. "Board chairman." I looked at her. "Tell me that screenshot didn't come from you." Her eyes snapped to mine. "No." "Then somebody had access to your phone. Or yours." We both went still at that. Because suddenly the 47 messages were no longer the biggest problem in the room. Madeline answered the call. "David." I couldn't hear the other side, but whatever he said made her expression turn cold. "No," she replied. "Do not contact Cody until I get downstairs." Another beat. Then her eyes met mine. "He is not being terminated." My grip tightened around the coffee cup. Madeline ended the call and grabbed her blazer. "What did he say?" She headed for the door. "The board thinks you manipulated me into giving you favorable treatment." I almost laughed. "That's insane." "I know." She opened the door, then stopped. "And Cody?" "Yeah. If anyone asks, do not delete last night's messages." "Why?" Her expression hardened. "Because whoever leaked those screenshots edited out the timestamps." I felt the hangover disappear completely. Meaning someone isn't trying to embarrass us. She pulled the door open. "They're building a case." By the time Madeline and I reached the 38th floor, the screenshot had already been reposted in 3 private Slack channels. I knew because Mason sent me all 3. "Mason, dude. Mason, dude. Mason, I told you to give me your phone." I shoved mine into my pocket. Madeline kept walking beside me, heels sharp against the floor, expression controlled again. If I hadn't seen her 47 messages, I would have assumed nothing could shake her. Then she said quietly, "Do you still have the original thread?" "Yes." "Cloud backup?" "Probably." "That isn't good enough." I glanced at her. "You think someone got into my phone?" "I think somebody had access to information they shouldn't." "Who?" "That's what we're going to find out." The board chairman, David Mercer, was waiting inside the conference room with our general counsel, Elaine Porter, and Grant Holloway, Sterling Dynamics executive vice president. Grant was the first person to speak. "Well," he said, leaning back in his chair. This is awkward. Madeline didn't sit. Don't. Grant raised both hands. I'm trying to make this less uncomfortable. You're failing. David pointed toward the empty chairs. Both of you sit down. I took the seat nearest the door. Madeline sat across from me. Elaine placed a printed screenshot on the table. Seeing those messages on paper somehow made them worse. I'm in love with you, Cody. Grant tapped the page. Is this authentic? Madeline answered immediately. Parts of it. Parts. The messages are real. The presentation is misleading. David frowned. How can a direct screenshot be misleading? The timestamps were removed. Grant gave a short laugh. I'm not sure midnight makes a declaration of love from a CEO to an employee better. I cut in. She didn't initiate the conversation. Every face turned toward me. Great. Madeline warned me with a look, but I continued. I sent her 14 drunk messages first. Most of them were complaints about work. Some were insults. Grant's eyebrows rose. Insults. I called her a corporate dictator. Elaine removed her glasses. David pinched the bridge of his nose. Grant almost smiled. Anything else? I criticized her coffee. That actually made Elaine cough. Madeline said, Can we focus? David folded his hands. We are focused. We have a possible executive misconduct issue, a possible retaliation issue, and apparently an employee who resigned while intoxicated. I didn't accept his resignation, Madeline said. Grant leaned forward. That's another problem. No, it isn't. You're emotionally involved with him, and you refused his resignation. I told him this morning he was free to resign sober. Grant looked directly at me. Did she? Yes. And are you resigning? That question landed harder than I expected. Yesterday, the answer had felt simple. I was tired of 16-hour days, last-minute revisions, and Madeline's impossible standards. I had spent months considering other offers. Now quitting looked like evidence. Staying looked worse. I haven't decided. Grant nodded slowly, like I'd just given him exactly what he wanted. David noticed it too. Grant, enough. I'm asking a reasonable question. No, Madeline said. You're creating a narrative. Grant turned toward her. You created the narrative when you sent 47 romantic messages to a subordinate. Her face tightened. He knew the exact number. I hadn't said 47 in this room. Neither had Madeline. I leaned back. How do you know there were 47? Grant's smile vanished. Elaine immediately looked at him. David said, Good question. Grant recovered fast. Everyone knows. People are talking. The leaked screenshot only showed 3. I said. The rumor says 47. Which rumor? Grant shrugged. I don't catalog office gossip. Madeline's voice changed. Lower. Colder. Who told you? This is ridiculous. Who told you there were 47 messages? He pushed his chair back. Ask HR. Ask half the building. I'm not your suspect because employees gossip. David raised a hand. That's enough. Elaine, preserve company logs. Nobody deletes anything. Grant stood. Fine. He walked out without another word. I watched the door close. Madeline did too. Elaine turned to us. Until we understand what happened, I strongly recommend that Cody be removed from Madeline's direct reporting structure. My stomach tightened. Madeline said, Agreed. I looked at her. That fast. It protects you. There you go again. Her brow creased. Doing what? Deciding what protects me without asking me. David and Elaine suddenly became very interested in their documents. Madeline lowered her voice. Cody, this is not the place. Apparently the place is already talking about my private messages, so I'm not sure privacy matters anymore. Her jaw tightened. Then, surprisingly, she nodded. You're right. That took some of the fight out of me. She turned to Elaine. Temporarily move him under operations. No change in compensation, title, or active projects without his approval. Elaine made a note. David said, We'll reconvene at 4. Outside the room, Madeline caught up with me near the elevators. Cody, I need coffee. You're holding coffee. I looked down. I still had the cup she'd given me. That's unsettling. Her mouth almost curved. Almost. Then she said, I meant what I said upstairs. You don't owe me an answer. About the resignation? About me. The elevator arrived. I stepped inside. She followed. I pressed 42. Madeline didn't press anything. You're coming with me? I work there. Right. That was somehow the stupidest thing I'd said all morning. The doors closed. I took out my phone. 47 messages. She exhaled. Please stop counting. I'm trying to understand something. What? You spent 11 months acting like I annoyed you. You did annoy me. And you were in love with me. Those things are not mutually exclusive. I laughed despite myself. That might be the most Madeline Cross answer possible. This time she actually smiled. It lasted maybe 2 seconds. Then I opened the thread again. Message 21. I listened to everything you say. Her smile disappeared. Oh God. Message 31. Jenna from Legal. Cody. Message 39. Denver Conference. I was drinking. 2 glasses. Stop using my own testimony against me. The elevator doors opened. I didn't move. Answer 1 question. She waited. Why didn't you ever say anything? Her expression softened, but the answer wasn't romantic. Because I was your CEO. That surprised me. I knew the power difference mattered. I knew if I asked you out, you might feel like saying no could hurt your career. So you said nothing. Yes. For 11 months. Yes. And then I called you a robot. You call me a beautifully dressed robot. Corporate dictator. That too. The doors started to close. Madeline caught them with one hand. Then she stepped out. I followed her. At my desk, I found a cardboard archive box sitting on my chair. My name was written across the top. Cody Bennett, personal items. I stopped. Madeline's expression changed instantly. What is this? I lifted the box. Inside were the framed photo of Mason and me at a Cubs game, my spare headphones, 2 notebooks, and the stupid plastic trophy my team gave me for most likely to rewrite a deck at 2 a.m. Someone had cleaned out my desk. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You should have taken the hint and resigned last night. I showed Madeline. She read it once. Then again. Her face lost every trace of warmth. Don't reply. Wasn't planning to. Another text arrived. She can't protect you forever. Madeline reached for her phone. Security. I caught her wrist before she could dial. She looked down at my hand. I released her immediately. Sorry, but if you lock down the building right now, whoever sent this knows we're scared. Her eyes lifted to mine. You think we should pretend nothing happened? I think we should figure out who already thinks I'm gone. Madeline considered that. Then she slowly lowered her phone. You're not bad at this. I work in strategy. You sent me 14 drunk messages. Everyone has weaknesses. Her mouth twitched again. Then Rachel hurried toward us from the executive wing. Madeline, we have another problem. What now? Rachel handed her a tablet. An email had been sent company-wide from an anonymous account. Subject, favoritism at the top. Attached was another screenshot. This one showed a calendar entry from 3 months earlier. Madeline Cross, private dinner, Cody Bennett. I frowned. We never had dinner. Madeline took the tablet. No. Rachel swallowed. There's more. She scrolled down. Under the calendar image was a file labeled Promotion Approval, Cody Bennett. Grant's digital signature was at the bottom. My name was on the top. And the salary increase listed was nearly 40%. I looked at Madeline. I've never seen that document. Neither have I. Rachel's voice dropped. HR says it was submitted yesterday. Yesterday. Before I got drunk. Before I sent a single message. That meant whoever was doing this hadn't reacted to the confession. They'd been preparing for it. Madeline turned toward me. Cody, somebody expected you to quit. I looked down at the box containing everything from my desk. And somebody expected you to stop me. At 9:34 a.m., I was officially transferred out of Madeline's division. At 9:41, somebody leaked that too. Mason appeared beside my temporary desk in operations holding 2 coffees. Congratulations. For what? You've been at work 90 minutes and somehow caused a corporate scandal, a board investigation, and the hottest Slack thread in company history. I took 1 coffee. I hate you. No, you don't. Also, half the company thinks you're sleeping with Madeline. I'm not. The other half thinks you're blackmailing her. I'm also not. Mason pulled out the chair beside me. There's a smaller group that thinks you're secretly engaged. I turned to him. Why? Someone posted that she wears a ring on a chain. She does. His eyes widened. Dude, it belonged to her grandmother. How do you know that? I opened my mouth, then closed it. Mason pointed at me. Exactly. That proves nothing. It proves your relationship with the CEO is objectively weird. Before I could answer, my new manager appeared. Lauren Hayes ran operations analytics and had the calm expression of someone who had already decided today was going to be terrible. Cody, conference room 3. Am I fired? No. Suspended? No. Then why does everyone keep inviting me into conference rooms? Because apparently your love life has become a compliance issue. Mason whispered, legend. I kicked his chair on my way out. Lauren closed the conference room door behind us and set a folder on the table. HR wants a written statement. About the messages? Everything. Your working relationship with Madeline. Any private meetings, gifts, dinners, travel, promotions, anything that could look like favoritism. There hasn't been any. She slid the folder toward me. Then say that clearly. I flipped through the form. Have you ever received non-standard access to executive leadership? I laughed. Lauren didn't. What? Madeline called me at 2 in the morning once because a client deck had the wrong font. Lauren blinked. Don't write that. Why not? Because it sounds insane. It was insane. Cody. Fine. My phone vibrated. Unknown number again. You should ask why she canceled Boston. I read it twice. Lauren noticed my face. What? I showed her. Boston what? I don't know. She immediately said, send that to security. No. That wasn't a suggestion. If security gets it, whoever's inside security might see it. You think this goes that high? I think someone knew about a fake promotion before I did. Lauren leaned back. That document had Grant Holloway's signature. Exactly. That doesn't mean Grant created it. I know. You sound disappointed. I'd prefer one obvious villain. Corporate life rarely gives you that. My phone buzzed again. Ask her who was supposed to go to Boston with her. That one bothered me more. I stood. Lauren frowned. Where are you going? To ask her. Cody, HR specifically moved you away from Madeline. They changed my reporting structure. They didn't install a restraining order. They might buy lunch. I was already at the door. Madeline's assistant tried to stop me. She's with legal. Tell her Boston. Rachel's face changed. Not dramatically. Just enough. I caught it. You know what that means. I didn't say that. You didn't need to. Rachel glanced toward Madeline's office. Wait here. No. Cody. I walked past her and opened the door. Madeline was seated with Elaine and 2 outside attorneys. Every person in the room turned toward me. Madeline stood. Cody, why did you cancel Boston? Elaine immediately said, this conversation can wait. No, it can't. Madeline's expression tightened. Where did you hear about Boston? So there was a Boston. One of the attorneys closed his laptop. Elaine rubbed her forehead. I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly is Boston? Madeline stayed focused on me. It was a leadership retreat. When? 6 weeks ago. Who was supposed to go? Senior executives. That's not what I asked. Her eyes narrowed. How much do you know? Almost nothing. Someone keeps texting me. That got everyone's attention. I handed her my phone. She read the messages. Elaine stood. You should have reported these immediately. Noted. Madeline handed my phone back. Boston was supposed to be a 3-day executive strategy retreat. And I canceled it. Why? She didn't answer fast enough. My stomach tightened. Madeline. She looked toward Elaine. Elaine said, if this relates to the investigation. It does. Madeline turned back to me. You were supposed to attend. I frowned. I wasn't senior leadership. I added you. Why? Because your restructuring model was the centerpiece of the agenda. That sounded reasonable. Too reasonable. So why cancel? Her jaw tightened. Because Grant objected. Grant objects to oxygen. That wasn't the only reason. There it was. I crossed my arms. What was the other reason? Madeline glanced at the attorneys. Then back at me. Grant told me people had started noticing how often I brought you into executive meetings. I felt heat crawl up my neck. He thought you were favoring me. Yes. And you canceled the entire retreat because of gossip? No. Then why? Her voice dropped. Because he told me you were uncomfortable around me. That shut me up. What? He said you'd complained privately that I was creating reasons to keep you close. I never said that. I know that now. You believed him? I didn't know what to believe. I laughed once, without humor. So instead of asking me, you canceled Boston. I thought giving you distance was the responsible thing. You could have talked to me. Yes. You keep doing this. I know. Making decisions for me. I know. Elaine interrupted. This is useful, emotionally, but we need to focus on whoever is contacting Cody. I pointed at Madeline. Grant told her 6 weeks ago that I felt uncomfortable. Elaine nodded slowly. And yesterday, a fake promotion document bearing Grant's signature was submitted. And today, someone is feeding me information only a few people knew. Madeline's face hardened, which means they want you suspicious of Grant. Maybe because I should be, or because they want us looking at him. That possibility irritated me because it made sense. My phone rang. Mason. I almost ignored it. Then remembered he rarely called during work. I answered. What? His voice was low. Cody, where are you? Madeline's office. Stay there. Why? I found something. What? You know the leaked confession screenshot? Yeah. It didn't come from Slack first. I straightened. What do you mean? I downloaded the repost before IT wiped it. The image metadata shows it was exported from a desktop messaging client. Madeline moved closer. I put the call on speaker. Mason continued. And before you ask, no, I didn't hack anything. The metadata was sitting there. Elaine said, who exported it? Can't tell, but there's a device label. Madeline asked, what label? Mason hesitated. Exec 42 RC. Rachel, standing near the doorway, went pale. Madeline noticed. Rachel. She didn't answer. Madeline repeated, what is exec 42 RC? Rachel swallowed. My workstation. Nobody moved. Rachel looked horrified. I didn't do this. Elaine was already reaching for her phone. Security needs to secure your computer. No, Rachel stepped forward. I swear, I didn't access Madeline's messages. Madeline's voice stayed controlled. Who else uses your workstation? No one. Rachel. I'm serious. Mason spoke through the phone. There's one more thing. I rubbed my forehead. Of course there is. The export timestamp was 11:52 last night. I checked my thread. My first drunk message to Madeline had been sent at 11:46. Her first reply came at 12:18. I looked up. That doesn't make sense. Madeline understood immediately. The confession messages didn't exist yet. Elaine's eyes narrowed. Then what exactly was exported at 11:52? Mason answered. That's the problem. The file creation time is 11:52, but the screenshot includes messages sent after midnight. My stomach turned. Lauren's words came back to me. Corporate life rarely gives you one obvious villain. Madeline took my phone from my hand. Mason, send the original file to Elaine. Nobody else. Already doing it. She ended the call. Rachel looked like she might be sick. I did not make that screenshot. Madeline watched her carefully. I believe you. Rachel blinked. You do? Because if someone used your workstation, they wanted us to find your name. Elaine nodded. A trail that obvious is probably deliberate. I leaned against the desk. So fake promotion. Edited screenshots. Rachel's computer. Anonymous texts pointing at Grant. Madeline added. And someone knew about Boston. Elaine looked between us. They're not just leaking information. I finished the thought. They're arranging suspects. My phone buzzed in Madeline's hand. Another unknown message. She read it before giving it back. This one contained no warning. Just a photo. Me, leaving the bar last night. Mason was beside me. The timestamp in the corner read 11:58 p.m. Underneath, one sentence. You're investigating the wrong night. Madeline's face sharpened. What does that mean? I zoomed in on the photo. Across the street, reflected in the dark window of a parked SUV, there was a person holding up a phone. Watching me. I recognized the coat. I'd seen it in the office yesterday afternoon. But it didn't belong to Grant. It belonged to someone I trusted enough that I'd handed them my unlocked phone more than once. I looked toward the door. Mason wasn't the only person who knew I was going drinking last night. The coat belonged to Lauren Hayes. I knew because she wore it every morning when she came in through the east entrance. Charcoal wool, silver zipper, one sleeve slightly creased near the wrist. I zoomed in again. Madeline noticed my expression. You recognize them? I think so. Who? I didn't answer immediately. Not because I wanted to protect Lauren. Because 20 minutes earlier, she had been sitting across from me telling me not to trust obvious suspects. Corporate life rarely gives you one obvious villain. Now that sentence felt different. Lauren. Rachel blinked. Operations Lauren? Madeline held out her hand. Show me. I gave her the phone. She studied the reflection. That could be anyone. It could. But you don't think it is. No. Elaine stepped closer. Why would Lauren be outside the bar? That's what I'd like to know. Madeline handed my phone back. You're not confronting her alone. I wasn't planning to duel her in the parking garage. You joke when you're angry. You send 47 confessions when you're drunk. Elaine closed her eyes. Can we please stop using that number as a weapon? Rachel almost laughed, then caught herself. Madeline didn't, but her mouth twitched. That tiny reaction helped more than it should have. Then I remembered Lauren had told me to send the anonymous texts to security. Maybe because she genuinely wanted to help. Maybe because she wanted control of the evidence. I pulled up my call history. Last night at 11:26, Lauren called me. Madeline's expression sharpened. Why? She wanted to know whether I'd finished the Harper account projections. Did you? Yeah. I told her I was at O'Malley's with Mason. Elaine said, so she knew your location. And she knew I'd been drinking. Madeline crossed her arms. What else? I scrolled through my messages, then found something I had completely forgotten. Lauren, don't send anything stupid tonight. Sent at 11:38 p.m. I showed them. Rachel muttered, that aged badly. I looked at Madeline. Still think I shouldn't confront her? I think you should. That surprised me. With legal present. That part doesn't. Elaine said, absolutely not. If Lauren is involved, we need to preserve evidence before she knows we suspect her. I pointed toward the hallway. She's my current manager. She's going to notice if I suddenly disappear into executive meetings all day. Madeline said, then act normal. I laughed. Madeline, somebody leaked your love confession, planted a fake promotion, threatened me, and possibly followed me to a bar. What part of today qualifies as normal? Her answer came instantly. Your sarcasm. Fair. I returned to operations 10 minutes later. Lauren was at her desk. Same coat hanging over the back of her chair. My pulse kicked once. She looked up. You vanished. Madeline needed something. That sentence is probably getting you into trouble today. Apparently, breathing near her gets me into trouble. Lauren gestured toward the chair across from her desk. Sit. I did. She lowered her voice. Security contacted me. Of course they had. About what? The texts. I didn't send them anything. No, but legal did. That meant Elaine had moved faster than I expected. Lauren studied me. You don't trust security. I don't trust anybody today. That include me? The question was casual. Too casual. I leaned back. Should it? She held my gaze, then smiled faintly. Good answer. My stomach tightened. She opened a spreadsheet. Your transfer paperwork. Thrilling. I need you to approve access changes. I took her laptop when she turned it toward me. She reached for her coffee. And there it was. A faint red scrape across the side of her right hand. Exactly where the reflected figure in the photo had been gripping the phone. That proved nothing. But then I noticed something else. A bar stamp. Faded blue ink near her wrist. O'Malley's. I kept my face neutral. You went out last night? Lauren glanced at her wrist. Birthday thing. At O'Malley's? Her eyes came up. There was the smallest delay. Yeah. What time? Why? Because I was there. I know. The words came too quickly. We both registered it. Lauren set her coffee down. You told me on the phone, remember? Right. Possible. I nodded. Right. She relaxed slightly. I signed the access form. Then my phone vibrated. Madeline. One message. Don't react. We found something. I kept the screen angled away from Lauren. A second message appeared. Lauren accessed your personnel file at 11:14 last night. My throat tightened. Third message. She also opened my executive calendar archive. I locked my phone. Lauren watched me. Everything okay? Fantastic. You look tense. My CEO confessed her love to me 47 times. Technically, she confessed once. My hand stopped. Lauren's face didn't change. I said carefully, what? She sent 47 messages. Only one of them said she loved you, right? A chill ran through me. I had never told Lauren that. The leaked screenshot showed 3 lines, including the final confession. But nobody outside Madeline, Mason, and the people in that executive office knew the full sequence. Lauren realized it a second too late. Her expression shifted. Not guilt. Calculation. I stood. She stayed seated. Where are you going? Bathroom. Cody. I turned. She shut the laptop. You really should stop investigating this. That was enough. I didn't answer. Her voice stayed calm. You have an excellent career. You have offers outside Sterling. Walk away. Is that advice from my manager? It's advice from someone who understands how ugly this can get. You mean uglier than anonymous threats? Her jaw tightened. There it was. I moved toward the door. Lauren stood. I didn't threaten you. I stopped. I never said you did. Damn. She knew it too. Her face hardened. Close the door. No. Cody. No. She came around the desk. I'm trying to help you. By following me to a bar. I wasn't following you. You were there. Yes. Why? She glanced toward the glass wall. Employees were working 20 feet away. Then she lowered her voice. Because Grant asked me to. That wasn't the answer I expected. What? He knew you were planning to resign. How? You've been interviewing. My stomach dropped. I had interviewed twice. Both outside company hours. Both confidential. Lauren continued. Grant wanted to know if Madeline knew. Why would he care? Because your departure gives him leverage. For what? Against her. I stared at her despite myself. Lauren rubbed her forehead. You think this is about romance? It isn't. Then explain. Grant has been trying to force Madeline out for months. That doesn't explain why you had access to my file. He asked me to find proof she favored you. And did you? No. The fake promotion? Not mine. The screenshots? Not mine. You knew there were 47 messages. Her face tightened again. Because I saw your phone. When? At the bar. I laughed in disbelief. You were close enough to read my phone? You left it on the table when Mason went to pay. My stomach turned. Did you touch it? No. Lauren. She hesitated. Then, yes. The answer landed like a punch. What did you do? I unlocked it. How? You use your birthday. I cursed under my breath. She continued quickly. I opened your conversation with Madeline because Grant wanted to know whether you'd warned her you were quitting. At 11:50 something? Yes. But she hadn't replied yet. No. Then how did the later messages end up in a file created at that time? I don't know. You expect me to believe that? I'm telling you what happened. My phone buzzed again. Madeline. Do not stay alone with her. Too late. Lauren saw the name on the screen. Something in her face changed. You need to stop answering her. I almost laughed. Why? Because she's not telling you everything. About what? Ask her about Seattle. I felt irritation spike. First Boston, now Seattle. Does everyone in this company communicate through cities? Lauren ignored that. Ask her why she blocked your transfer last spring. My expression changed. What transfer? Lauren watched me carefully. Exactly. I said nothing. She stepped closer, keeping her voice low. You applied for the Seattle strategy lead position 8 months ago. I was told the position was canceled. It wasn't. My pulse picked up. Who got it? Someone from Grant's team. Why was I rejected? Lauren hesitated, then delivered it. Because Madeline personally removed your name from the finalist list. That hit harder than the anonymous texts. Harder than the fake promotion. Because I remembered that job. I had wanted it badly. New city. More responsibility. A real step up. HR had told me the role had been restructured. I'd believed them. Lauren picked up her coat. I shouldn't have accessed your phone. I know that. That's one way to describe it. But whatever you think of me, ask yourself why Madeline kept you in New York. I turned toward the door. Lauren called after me. Cody. I stopped. If she's been in love with you for 11 months. I looked back. Lauren's expression was grim. Why do you think she started making sure you couldn't leave 8 months ago? I walked out without answering. Madeline was waiting by the elevators. She took one look at my face. What happened? I pressed the call button. You tell me. Her brow tightened. What does that mean? Seattle. That one word changed everything. She didn't ask what I meant. She knew. I laughed quietly. Wow. Cody, let me explain. You blocked my transfer. Yes. The elevator arrived. I didn't step inside. Why? Madeline glanced around the floor. Not here. No. Here is fine. Cody, you told me this morning you respected the fact that you were my CEO. You said you never made a move because you didn't want your feelings affecting my career. I meant that. Then why did you remove me from Seattle? Her jaw tightened. Employees nearby were pretending not to listen. Madeline lowered her voice. Because the Seattle role was designed to fail. I frowned. What? Grant created it to move you out of headquarters. That makes no sense. It does if he wanted your restructuring project. My project. He couldn't take control of it while you were here. I felt the anger shift, but it didn't disappear. So you blocked the transfer to protect me. Yes. And never told me. I couldn't prove what Grant was doing. You could have told me you were the reason. And if I had, would you have believed me? I deserved the choice. Her face fell slightly. Yes. That answer hurt more because she didn't fight me. I stepped into the elevator. Madeline followed. Before the doors closed, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time there was no photo. Just one sentence. She's finally admitting Seattle. Now ask her why Grant knows about the 47 messages. I showed Madeline. Her expression went flat. Then her phone rang. Grant Holloway. We both watched his name light up the screen. Madeline answered. What? I could hear his voice faintly through the speaker. Stop digging. Madeline's eyes sharpened. Grant continued. Because if Cody finds out who really sent those messages from your account, neither of you will recover. The call ended. I looked at her. From your account? Madeline slowly lowered the phone. And for the first time all morning, she had no answer ready. Tell me Grant is lying. Madeline didn't answer. That was enough to make my stomach drop. We were still inside the elevator, halfway between floors, and I hit the emergency stop before she could reach for the panel. She turned toward me. Cody, no. You don't get to use my name like that, and buy yourself 10 more seconds. I'm not buying time. Then explain why Grant thinks someone else sent messages from your account. Her jaw tightened. Because 6 months ago, my executive account was compromised. I laughed once. You thought that detail wasn't worth mentioning? It was contained. Apparently not. The intrusion lasted less than 4 minutes. And someone accessed your messages? No. At least, that's what IT told me. At least. She folded her arms. The breach happened through an executive authentication token. Grant knew because he was on the risk committee. I released the emergency stop. The elevator started moving again. So now we've got a hacked CEO account, my unlocked phone, fake promotion paperwork, edited screenshots, and Grant somehow standing in the middle of all of it. Yes. And you still expect me to believe this is about a corporate takeover? It is. The doors opened on 42. I stayed inside. Madeline didn't move either. What are you not telling me? Her expression hardened. Nothing relevant. I laughed. There. That right there. What? You deciding what's relevant. Cody. No. Seattle was protecting me. Boston was giving me space. Now this breach is not relevant. Every time something affects me, you decide what I'm allowed to know. She flinched. Not dramatically, but enough. I was trying to keep you out of this. I'm already in it. I know. You knew that yesterday too. The doors began closing. Madeline reached out and stopped them. You're right. That answer came too easily. I frowned. She continued. I've handled this badly. I thought if I could solve the problem before it touched you, then I could keep my feelings separate from your career. That worked great. I'm aware. I stepped out of the elevator. She followed. Then Grant came around the corner. Of course he did. He looked at the two of us standing together and gave me a tired smile. Still playing detective? I walked toward him. Madeline caught my arm. Cody. Grant noticed that. His expression sharpened. I pulled my arm free, but not because I was angry with her. I've got one question. Grant shrugged. Make it good. How did you know someone sent messages from Madeline's account? He smiled. There it is. Madeline said, answer him. Grant ignored her. You want the truth, Cody? I'd settle for one person in this building trying it. Fine. Those 47 messages weren't all written last night. Madeline went completely still. I turned toward her. What? Grant continued before she could speak. Some were drafted months ago. My chest tightened. Drafted where? In her private notes. Madeline's voice was ice. Grant. He finally looked at her. You told him you were honest. Be honest. I faced Madeline. Is that true? Her silence lasted too long. Then she said, some of the wording existed before. I rubbed my forehead. You had pre-written confessions? That sounds worse than it was. It sounds insane. Grant laughed softly. Madeline snapped, leave. No. His tone changed. Less smug. More serious. You both need to understand something. The board vote is moving up. Madeline's eyes narrowed. What vote? Your removal. That hit the hallway like a dropped glass. I said, removal as CEO? Grant nodded. Temporary suspension pending ethics review. David's calling the session at 2. Madeline checked the time. 10:46. You pushed this. Grant shook his head. I warned you 6 weeks ago. You fabricated evidence. I didn't fabricate anything. The promotion document has your signature. My digital signature. Convenient. It's also convenient that Rachel's workstation created a screenshot before the messages existed. I stepped between them slightly. Then who's doing it? Grant looked at me. That's the problem. You think I'm the enemy because somebody keeps pointing you at me. You followed my career. Yes. You had Lauren watch me. Yes. Madeline's face sharpened. You what? Grant ignored her. I said why? Because I thought you were about to become the excuse they needed to remove her. I blinked. That makes no sense. It does if you understand the board. He glanced toward Madeline. Half of them have wanted her gone since she refused the Caldwell merger. Madeline crossed her arms. You supported that decision. I did. Then why spend months undermining me? I wasn't undermining you. I was trying to find out who was. That changed the shape of the room. Madeline didn't believe him. I could tell. But neither did she dismiss him immediately. Grant looked back at me. The Seattle transfer? I created it. I know. I wanted you out of headquarters because your restructuring model exposed something. What? Payments. Madeline's head lifted. What payments? Grant lowered his voice. Consulting invoices routed through 3 shell vendors. I frowned. That was in the restructuring data? Buried inside procurement allocations. I never saw it. You weren't supposed to. Madeline asked, how much? About 12 million over 4 years. That was no longer office politics. That was criminal. Grant continued. Someone realized Cody's model could surface the pattern once it went live. So yes, I tried to move him to Seattle. You were protecting him? Madeline asked. No, I was protecting the investigation. My jaw tightened. Good to know I was useful. Grant looked almost ashamed. That wasn't how I meant it. It usually isn't. Madeline stepped closer to me. Grant noticed. See? This is exactly what the board is going to use. She didn't move away. Let them. I turned toward her. That's not helpful. Her eyes met mine. They're already accusing me of favoritism. Standing 3 feet farther away from you won't change that. Grant exhaled. You two are making this harder than it needs to be. I said, then make it easy. Who knew about the payments? He hesitated. Madeline caught it. Grant. 3 people. Me. David Mercer. The board chairman. And I asked. Grant's expression darkened. Rachel. I almost laughed. Great. Another suspect. Madeline immediately said, Rachel wouldn't. You said that about Lauren an hour ago. I said Lauren wasn't the obvious answer. And now I think none of the obvious answers are right. My phone buzzed. This time it wasn't anonymous. Lauren. Cody, don't go into the board meeting. I showed them. Grant frowned. Why is she texting you? Because apparently everyone enjoys giving me orders. Madeline took out her phone. I caught her hand. No. She frowned. What? You're about to call security. Yes. And lock Lauren out. Yes. Without asking me. Her expression shifted. There it was again. The same pattern. Madeline slowly lowered the phone. What do you want to do? That question surprised me more than it should have. I want to talk to Lauren. Grant scoffed. Bad idea. I pointed at him. You don't get a vote. Madeline almost smiled. Then she said, I'm coming with you. No. Her expression changed. I'm not asking permission. That's exactly the problem. Her jaw tightened. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. If you actually care about me, stop deciding my life for me. That landed. Hard. Madeline didn't argue. Didn't defend herself. She just nodded. Okay. Grant looked between us like he'd walked into something private. I said, I'll talk to Lauren. You two figure out who can access the procurement system. Madeline asked. And if Lauren threatens you? I walk away. And if she has evidence? I bring it back. She nodded again. No argument. No order. Okay. I turned to leave. Then Madeline called my name. I looked back. She wasn't wearing her CEO face anymore. Be careful. 2 words. That was it. Somehow they hit harder than all 47 messages. I found Lauren in the underground parking garage. She was standing beside her car with a laptop bag over one shoulder. You're leaving? I was told to. By who? HR. Why? Unauthorized file access. That part's fair. She gave me a tired look. You came alone. Madeline wanted to come. But I told her no. Lauren's eyebrows rose. And she listened? Eventually. That's new. I crossed my arms. You told me not to go to the board meeting. Lauren looked around the garage, then unlocked her car. Get in. No. Cody, I'm done getting into situations because people tell me to. She actually smiled. Good. Then stand there. She opened the passenger door and pulled out a thick envelope. What is that? Why you shouldn't go to the board meeting? She handed it to me. Inside were printed bank transfers, vendor payments, consulting invoices, and one authorization sheet. I scanned a signature line. My stomach dropped. The approving executive wasn't Grant. It wasn't Rachel. It wasn't Madeline. It was David Mercer, board chairman. $12 million. I looked up. You had this. I found it last night. Why didn't you give it to Madeline? Because I didn't know whether she was part of it. My temper flared. You searched my phone because of this. I searched your phone because I needed to know whether you'd sent her the restructuring model. I didn't. I know. Then who leaked the confession screenshots? I don't know. Who created the fake promotion? I don't know. You keep saying that. Because I genuinely don't. My phone rang. Madeline. I answered. Her voice was tight. Cody, where are you? Garage. Get upstairs. What happened? The board meeting was moved again. To when? Now. I looked at the time. 11:19. That's 3 hours early. I know. Then she said something that made my grip tighten around the envelope. They've already voted to suspend me. I stared down at David Mercer's signature. How? They only needed a majority of the emergency committee. Are you leaving the building? A beat. Yes. I looked at Lauren, then at the evidence in my hand. No, you're not. Madeline's voice sharpened. Cody, for once, don't argue. I headed for the elevator. Tell them I'm coming. With what? I looked at the $12 million nobody was supposed to find. The reason they're trying so hard to get rid of you. The boardroom doors were closing when I reached the 45th floor. Hold it. One of the security officers stepped in front of me. Mr. Bennett, this is an executive session. Good. I have executive-sized problems. Cody. Madeline stood 10 feet away with her laptop bag in one hand. She had already been escorted out of the room. Her face told me everything. The vote was real. David Mercer appeared behind the glass doors. Mr. Bennett, you need to leave. I held up Lauren's envelope. I think you'll want to reconsider. His eyes dropped to it. That tiny reaction was enough. Madeline noticed too. She moved closer. What is that? Something David doesn't want us discussing in the hallway. David's expression hardened. Security. I raised my voice. $12 million in consulting payments through shell vendors. Nobody moved. A board member near the door turned around. David said, You have no idea what you're talking about. Then you won't mind me showing everyone. I pulled out the authorization sheet. Madeline took it before security could. Her eyes moved down the page. Then back to David. You signed these. David's face went flat. Those are confidential procurement documents. Grant stepped out of the boardroom. What documents? I handed him the first invoice. He read it and swore under his breath. David snapped. This meeting is adjourned. Elaine appeared behind him. No, it isn't. That changed the atmosphere immediately. She walked toward me. Where did you get these? Lauren. Grant looked furious. She had them. She found them last night. Elaine took the envelope. I need originals. She said these are copies. David moved toward the elevator. Elaine blocked him. David, until we verify these, I strongly recommend you remain available. You don't have authority to detain me. No, but federal investigators do. That landed. He turned toward her. Federal? Grant said. I contacted them 3 weeks ago. Everyone looked at him. Madeline's voice was cold. You might have mentioned that. Grant rubbed his forehead. I was trying to keep the circle small. I almost laughed. Apparently, everyone in this company has the same terrible communication strategy. Madeline glanced at me. Fair. David pushed past Elaine. None of this changes the ethics issue. He pointed at me. Your CEO admitted romantic feelings for a subordinate. She blocked his transfer. She inserted him into executive meetings. That alone justifies suspension. Madeline opened her mouth. I spoke first. No. David looked at me. No. You're using my career like evidence in an argument I didn't agree to. This isn't about what you agreed to. That's exactly what this is about. I stepped into the boardroom. Half the members were still seated. Good. Let them hear it. Yes, Madeline blocked my Seattle transfer without telling me. Her expression tightened. Yes, that was wrong. David almost smiled. I continued. And yes, she added me to meetings because my work was relevant. I have every performance review, project record, client score, and promotion recommendation from the last 3 years. Check them. Grant folded his arms. David said, "You're defending her because she told you she loves you." I laughed. "No, I'm angry with her because she thinks loving someone gives her the right to protect them without asking." Madeline's face shifted. "But that doesn't mean you get to invent a version where I'm some helpless employee being controlled by her." The room went still enough that I could hear someone's phone vibrating on the table. I pointed at David. "You submitted a fake promotion document yesterday, didn't you?" His expression didn't change. Elaine said, "Cody, we haven't established that." "No, but think about the timing. Somebody needed proof Madeline favored me." Then suddenly a 40% raise appears with Grant's signature. Grant muttered, "Forged signature." "Exactly." I looked around the table. Then edited love messages leak. Rachel's workstation gets framed. Lauren gets pushed into spying on me. Everything points in 10 different directions. Madeline stepped beside me. "Because confusion delays the financial investigation." Grant nodded slowly. "And forces us to fight each other." David laughed. "You're building conspiracy theories." I pulled out my phone. "No, I'm building timestamps." His expression changed. I opened the full thread. Here's my first drunk message. 11:46 p.m. Then Madeline's first reply. 12:18 a.m. I looked toward Elaine. The leaked screenshot file was created at 11:52. One board member frowned. "That's impossible." "Exactly," Grant said, "unless the metadata was manipulated, or the screenshot was assembled from material someone already had." Madeline turned toward him. "My private drafts." Grant nodded. I looked at her. "Some of those messages were based on things you wrote months ago, right?" Her face went slightly pink. "Even now?" "Yes." A board member cleared his throat. "Private romantic drafts." Madeline's voice turned lethal. "Do you want to keep your seat, Harold?" He immediately looked down. I almost smiled. Then Elaine asked, "Who could access those drafts?" Madeline thought. "My executive cloud backup. My phone. Possibly the archived device image from the breach 6 months ago." Grant's head lifted. "The compromised authentication token." "Yes." Elaine turned toward David. "Who oversaw that investigation?" Nobody answered. I already knew. David did. His face hardened. "That proves nothing." Grant pulled out his phone. "It proves enough to preserve every device you own." David walked toward him. "Be very careful." Grant smiled without humor. "I've been careful for months." Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Not again. I opened it. One message. "You should have quit when you had the chance." Underneath was an attachment. Audio. I pressed play. David's voice filled the boardroom. "Once Bennett leaves, Cross loses the restructuring model and the favoritism issue becomes useful. Make sure the screenshots hit before Monday." Everyone turned toward him. David didn't deny the voice. He went pale. Elaine immediately said, "Nobody leaves." David reached for his phone. Grant knocked it out of his hand. "Not happening." Security moved in. Madeline turned toward me. "Where did that audio come from?" "I don't know." "That's becoming a theme." "Yeah." The board erupted into overlapping questions. Elaine started issuing instructions. Grant called outside counsel. 2 security officers escorted David into a separate conference room. And somehow, in the middle of all that, Madeline reached for my sleeve. Not my hand, not my wrist, just the edge of my sleeve. "Cody," I looked at her. "You didn't have to do that." "Do what?" "Stand in there and defend me." "I wasn't defending you." Her eyebrows lifted. "I was defending myself." That surprised her. I continued. "And the truth." Her fingers loosened from my sleeve. "Right." I could tell she thought I was pulling away. Maybe part of me was. But not for the reason she thought. I lowered my voice. "You still blocked Seattle." "I know." "You still made choices for me." "I know." "And 47 messages is still completely unhinged." That got the smallest smile. "I know." I exhaled. "But when David tried to make me choose between saying you were innocent and admitting you screwed up." Her eyes stayed on mine. I realized those aren't opposites. The smile disappeared. Something warmer replaced it. "Cody, don't." "What?" "Don't turn this into confession number 48. She actually laughed. A real laugh. It lasted maybe 3 seconds before Elaine walked over. "Madeline, the board is reversing your suspension pending the financial investigation." Madeline's expression shifted back to business. "Effective immediately?" "Yes." Elaine looked at me. And Cody, HR wants your written statement before end of day. Of course they do. She walked away. Madeline turned back to me. You can return to strategy. No. Her face changed. I expected an argument. Instead, she asked, what do you want? That mattered. More than she probably realized. I stay under operations until this is over. Okay. No special assignments. Okay. No private dinners disguised as meetings. Her cheeks actually colored. There were never private dinners. I know. I'm enjoying this. I can tell. And when this investigation ends, I'm still deciding whether I leave Sterling. That one hurt her. But she nodded. Okay. No argument. No pressure. I started toward the elevators. Cody. I turned. She stood in the middle of the corridor, surrounded by lawyers, directors, and people waiting for her next order. But she wasn't giving me one. Thank you, she said. I nodded once. Then my phone buzzed again. This time it was Mason. You need to see what just hit the company channel. I opened Slack. A new anonymous post had appeared. Not screenshots. A video. Madeline, 6 months earlier, standing alone in her office. Talking to someone off camera. Her voice was clear. If Cody finds out what I did, he'll leave. Then the video cut off. I looked back at her. Madeline had seen it too. Her face lost every trace of color. I held up my phone. What did you do? She didn't answer. And just like that, the $12 million scandal stopped being the only secret left in the building. What did you do? Madeline's face had gone pale enough that even Grant noticed. He stepped closer. What video? I turned my phone toward him. The clip replayed. If Cody finds out what I did, he'll leave. Then black screen. Grant swore. Elaine appeared beside us. Where did that come from? Anonymous company account. Again. Apparently our internal communications system is now a reality show. Madeline took the phone from me. She watched the clip once. Then she handed it back. It's real. That answer hit harder than I expected. Elaine said, Madeline, before you explain anything, I strongly suggest. No. Madeline kept her eyes on me. He deserves the explanation. Grant gave us a look. Maybe not in the hallway. For once, I agreed with him. 5 minutes later, Madeline and I were alone in her office. She didn't sit behind the desk. Neither did I. What did you do? I asked again. She took a slow breath. 8 months ago, you applied for Seattle. We covered that. No. We covered why I blocked it. My jaw tightened. There's more. Yes. Of course there was. She walked to the window, then seemed to think better of putting distance between us. When Grant created the Seattle position, I believed he wanted you out because of your restructuring model. You were right. Partially. What does that mean? It also would have put you under someone named Peter Sloan. I knew the name. Regional Strategy Director. He'd been accused twice of retaliating against employees who challenged his numbers. I frowned. Accused. Nothing formally proven. So you thought Seattle would damage my career? Yes. And instead of telling me, you killed my application. Yes. I rubbed a hand over my face. That still doesn't explain the video. Madeline's expression tightened. I didn't just remove your name. My stomach sank. What else? I called the recruiter. I waited. And I told her you were no longer interested. My anger arrived instantly. You what? I know. No, you don't. I know it was wrong. You spoke for me. Yes. You rejected a job in my name. Yes. I laughed once, sharp and humorless. That's not protecting me. That's controlling me. I know. Stop saying that like it fixes anything. It doesn't. Then why did you do it? Her answer came quietly. Because I panicked. I stared at her. She continued before I could interrupt. I had every professional reason to stop that transfer. Grant's project, Sloan's history, the procurement issue. I told myself those were the only reasons. But they weren't. No. Her voice dropped. I also didn't want you to go. There it was. Not sweet. Not romantic. Messy. Exactly what I didn't want to hear. So you used your authority. Yes. Because you liked me. Yes. I turned away. Madeline didn't follow. That mattered. 6 months ago, apparently, she would have. Now she stayed where she was. I should have told you, she said. I should have given you the information and let you decide. I looked back. Would you do it again? No. You answered fast. Because I've had 8 months to know I was wrong. Yet you still didn't tell me. Her face tightened. I was afraid. Of me leaving. Yes. That's not exactly helping your case. I'm not trying to win a case. That stopped me. Madeline continued. I'm not asking you to forgive me because I love you. I'm telling you because if you walk away from Sterling today, you should know exactly what I did. I crossed my arms. And if I leave? Her throat moved. I let you. Simple. No grand speech. No threat. No order. Just that. A knock hit the door. Mason opened it without waiting. Sorry, this feels personal, but we have a company-wide disaster. Another one? I asked. David's audio hit outside social media. Madeline closed her eyes. Mason continued. Reporters are calling. Legal is melting down. Also, Grant wants both of you downstairs. I looked at Madeline. She reached for her blazer, then stopped. Are you coming? Not come with me. Not, I need you downstairs. Are you coming? I noticed. Yeah. Downstairs, Sterling looked like somebody had kicked a hornet's nest. People were clustered around phones. PR staff were running between conference rooms. Elaine had 2 phones pressed to her ears at once. Grant found us. Federal investigators are on the way. Mason whispered to me. This is the weirdest workday I've ever had. You came to work in a Spider-Man costume once. That was charity. Grant ignored us. David's attorney is claiming the audio was fabricated. It wasn't, Lauren said behind him. I turned. She was standing with a man in a navy suit. Elaine pointed at her. Why are you back? Because I recorded it. Everything stopped. Grant looked at her. You? Lauren nodded. 3 weeks ago. Why? David asked me to help monitor Cody. I felt my jaw tighten. She raised a hand. I know. Horrible sentence. Continue. He wanted proof Cody planned to leave. I started realizing the requests weren't normal. So I recorded our last conversation. Madeline asked, why leak it anonymously? I didn't. That confused everyone. Lauren handed the navy-suited man a flash drive. I gave the original to federal investigators this morning. Grant frowned. Then who posted it? Lauren shook her head. Not me. Mason slowly lifted his hand. Everyone looked at him. What? I asked. I might know. You might. He pulled out his laptop. I tracked the anonymous Slack sessions after the last video. Elaine immediately said, please tell me you did that legally. I used our internal security dashboard. I have access. Grant looked at him. Why? I'm in infrastructure. I blinked. You told me you did platform support. That's a type of infrastructure. You've been my friend for years, and I still don't know what you do. Focus. He turned the laptop around. The anonymous posts are automated. Elaine frowned. Scheduled. Some of them. Triggered by keywords and account activity. Madeline leaned closer. Meaning? Someone built a dead man switch. Grant cursed under his breath. Mason continued. If certain files get accessed or accounts change status, specific evidence gets released. I thought about the timing. The screenshots. The video. David's audio. So whoever set this up expected the investigation. Exactly. Who? Mason clicked another screen. The automation owner was hidden, but there's one recovery email. He zoomed in. Everyone read it. Rachel.cole@sterlingdine.com. Rachel. Again. Madeline immediately shook her head. No. Grant said, you keep doing that. Because Rachel wouldn't build this. Elaine frowned. Why not? Madeline pulled out her phone. Because Rachel has been with me for 7 years, and she hates automation tools. Mason nodded. Actually, fair. She once printed a Google sheet. I almost laughed. Then Rachel appeared at the far end of the corridor. 2 security officers were beside her. She looked terrified. Madeline. Elaine walked toward her. Rachel, did you create an automated leak system? What? Mason turned the laptop toward her. Rachel read the screen. Her expression collapsed. Oh my God, you recognize it? That email isn't mine. It literally has your name. My internal email is rachel.coleman. Everyone stopped. Mason looked at the address again. Rachel.cole. 1 word missing. Grant muttered, spoofed. Mason nodded slowly. Fake account. I exhaled. So Rachel was framed twice. Rachel looked personally offended. I would like that noted in writing. Even Elaine almost smiled. Then my phone buzzed. Not anonymous. An email. Personal account. Subject. You finally found the right question. I opened it. 1 attached document. A list of scheduled releases. There were 48 entries. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Madeline saw the screen. What is that? I scrolled. Entries 1 through 47 were evidence drops. Screenshots, financial documents, video clips, audio, each one numbered. 48 had no attachment, only a date. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. And beside it, final release, Cody Bennett. Grant leaned over my shoulder. What the hell is that? I don't know. Madeline's face hardened. Whoever built this has something on you. Or wants us to think they do. Mason clicked through the header data, then stopped. Guys. What? The email wasn't sent from outside. Elaine frowned. Internal account. No. Mason swallowed. It came from Madeline's personal backup account. I turned toward her. Madeline's face went blank. That account was closed 6 months ago. The same breach. Again, Grant said. Then whoever stole her archive still has access. Madeline took out her phone. I'm shutting everything down. I caught myself before telling her not to. Then realized something. This time, she looked at me. Cody, she was asking. I exhaled. Do it. She made the call. An hour later, I signed my resignation papers. Not because of the scandal. Not because of David. Not even because of Seattle. Because I finally understood something. As long as Madeline was my CEO, neither of us would ever know whether a choice between us was really free. She read the form twice, then signed it. No argument. No shredded document. No executive override. Just her signature. I took the page. So that's it. Her voice was quiet. If that's what you want. It is. She nodded. It hurt her. I could tell. But she let me walk out. At the elevator, she called my name. I turned. There's something about last night. What? Message 48. You mean come to my office? Now. That wasn't the first version. I frowned. What was? Her face actually reddened. Madeline Cross. Read. I deleted it. Obviously. She pulled out her phone. Then showed me the draft history. The original message 48 read. If you still quit when you're sober, I won't stop you. But once you're not my employee anymore, I'm going to chase you properly. I read it twice. Then looked at her. You wrote that at 12:43 last night? Yes. After 47 messages? Yes. You really had no off switch. Apparently not. I handed her phone back. You realize I just resigned. I'm extremely aware. And we're not dating. I know. And I'm still mad about Seattle. I know. I pointed at her. Stop saying that. A tiny smile appeared. Sorry. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. Madeline stayed outside. Exactly where she should. Then, just before the doors closed, she said, Cody? What? Her smile was nervous now. Not CEO nervous. Just Madeline. Tomorrow, when I'm no longer your boss. The doors started sliding shut. Message 48 becomes valid. I laughed despite myself. Then the doors closed between us. My phone buzzed. Mason, please tell me you did not just quit 5 minutes before the biggest scandal in company history. I typed back. Technically, I quit last night. Then another notification appeared. Unknown sender. One sentence. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, you'll learn why Madeline was never the real target. I read it again. The final release wasn't about her. It was about me. At 7:58 the next morning, I was sitting at my kitchen table with my laptop open and 3 people telling me not to click anything. Mason was on video call. Grant was on speaker. Madeline was outside my apartment. That last part was the problem. My doorbell rang again. Mason grinned through the screen. That's romantic. It's 7:58. Love has no business hours. Shut up. Grant's voice came through my phone. Bennett, focus. If the release contains malware, don't open attachments. Great advice 30 seconds before whatever this is. The bell rang a third time. I got up. Madeline stood in the hallway holding 2 coffees and a paper bag. I leaned against the doorframe. You're early. I'm not your CEO anymore. You're still terrifyingly punctual. She held out 1 coffee. Cold brew. Oat milk. I took it. And? Breakfast. You're bribing me. I'm chasing you properly. I almost smiled. Message 48. Message 48. Then my laptop chimed. 8 a.m. We both turned. A new email had arrived. Subject, final release, Cody Bennett. Madeline's expression tightened. Can I come in? That mattered. Not move. Not, I'm coming inside. Can I? I stepped aside. Yeah. She entered, set breakfast down, and stayed behind me while I opened the email. There was no attachment. Just a link to an internal archive. Grant said, I've got the same release mirrored here. Mason added, no malware signature. I clicked. The first file opened. A personnel document. Mine. Cody Bennett. Internal succession review. I frowned. What is this? Madeline leaned closer. Her face changed. Grant swore through the phone. I scrolled. Sterling's board had reviewed me 18 months ago for an accelerated executive development program. Potential VP track. Cross-functional leadership. Board sponsorship recommended. Then I reached the final page. Program halted. Reason: candidate identified as operational risk to existing procurement structure. I read that twice. Operational risk. Grant answered, your models. My stomach tightened. Mason said, keep scrolling. The next file was worse. Emails. David Mercer to 2 board members. Bennett asks too many questions. Keep him below executive visibility until restructuring is complete. Another. If Cross promotes him, we'll lose control of procurement reporting. Another. Push Seattle if necessary. I sat back. So this started before Madeline's messages. Way before, Grant said. Madeline's voice was quiet. They weren't trying to use you against me. I understood before she finished. They were trying to use you because of me. No, she said. Because of your work. That distinction hit hard. For 2 days, I had thought I was collateral damage in a fight over Madeline. Turns out I had been one of the targets from the beginning. Mason broke the tension. Okay, not to ruin the emotional moment, but there's another file. I opened it. Audio transcript. David again. If Bennett resigns, Cross becomes unstable. If she keeps him, we use favoritism. Either outcome works. Madeline went very still. I looked at her. They planned the entire trap. Yes. They expected me to quit. Yes. And expected you to stop me. Yes. I laughed quietly. They really did know you. Her mouth tightened. They knew the old version of me. That answer stayed with me. Grant said, there's one final item. I opened the last file. A legal memo. Federal Cooperation Agreement. Signed by Lauren Hayes. I blinked. She built the release system? Mason answered, looks like she did. Grant sounded stunned. Lauren. I kept reading. She had discovered David's payments months ago. She couldn't trust Grant. Couldn't trust Madeline. Couldn't trust internal security. So she created automated evidence drops designed to trigger when specific events occurred. If David tried to remove Madeline, evidence released. If Rachel was framed, logs released. If I resigned, my succession file released. Madeline exhaled. That explains the timing. I kept reading, then found a note addressed to me. Cody, sorry about your phone. That part was me. The fake promotion wasn't. The threats weren't. David had someone else handling those. I needed you suspicious enough to keep digging, but safe enough to walk away if things went wrong. You didn't walk away. Predictable. Lauren. I stared at the screen. Mason laughed. That is the least apologetic apology I've ever seen. She violated about 12 boundaries. Madeline folded her arms. I dislike her. I glanced at her. She helped expose a $12 million fraud. I can respect her professionally and dislike her personally. Because she touched my phone? Among other reasons. I smiled. There she is. Madeline looked embarrassed for half a second. Then Grant spoke. Federal agents arrested David 20 minutes ago. That shut us both up. What? I asked. Conspiracy, wire fraud, obstruction. More charges coming. Madeline sat across from me. And the board. Emergency restructuring. Elaine is interim chair. They want you back today. She shook her head. No. Grant paused. No. I'm taking the day. I looked at her. Grant sounded genuinely confused. You never take days. I do now. She ended the call. I raised an eyebrow. That was dramatic. I learned from your resignation. Mason said, I'm still here. I reached over and ended the video call. Hey. Gone. Now it was just us. Madeline looked toward the breakfast bag. I brought bagels. You're really committed to this. Yes. You know, chasing someone usually starts with asking them out. I'm aware. Not purchasing breakfast and appearing at their apartment at 8 in the morning. I considered flowers. That would have been worse. I thought so. I sat back. For the first time since the drunk texts, there was nothing urgent demanding our attention. No board vote. No leak. No anonymous threat. Just Madeline sitting across from me looking more nervous than she had while facing suspension. I opened the bag. Everything bagel? Yes. Cream cheese. Scallion. I narrowed my eyes. How do you know that? Cody, I sent 47 messages explaining that I pay attention to you. Right? She smiled. Then I stopped joking. Seattle still bothers me. Her smile disappeared. I know. Madeline. Sorry. I almost laughed. She continued. I can't undo it. If I could, I would. I believe you. That surprised her. But believing you doesn't mean I'm instantly over it. I'm not asking you to be. And resigning doesn't mean I'm automatically ready to date you. I know. I pointed at her. She caught herself. Understood. Better. I took a bite of the bagel. So what exactly does chasing me properly mean? She thought about it. Dinner. That's it. Dinner first. No private jet? No. No buying the restaurant. She hesitated. Madeline, I won't buy the restaurant. No ordering my new employer to give me Fridays off. I would never. I raised an eyebrow. She sighed. I won't interfere with your career. Good. I'll ask. Better. Her expression softened. Cody. Yeah. Dinner tonight. I let her wait 2 seconds. Maybe 3. Then I shook my head. No. Her face fell. Tomorrow. She blinked. What? I already have plans tonight. With who? There it was. That tiny flash of jealousy. I smiled. Mason. Relief crossed her face immediately. That's different. It really isn't. It is to me. Still jealous of Jenna too? Her eyes narrowed. Do you enjoy making this difficult? A lot. She stood and picked up her coffee. Fine. Tomorrow. 7. I'll make a reservation. You'll ask where I want to eat. She stopped. Then nodded. Where do you want to eat? I laughed. Now you're learning. She moved toward the door. I followed. Before leaving, she turned back. One question. What? Are you taking another job? I have 2 offers. Her expression changed, but she didn't ask which companies. Didn't tell me which one was better. Didn't try to influence anything. Instead, she said, congratulations. That might have been the moment I finally believed she meant it. I leaned against the doorframe. Madeline. She looked back. Tomorrow isn't a business dinner. Her eyes brightened. No. No. A date. One date. Her smile came slowly. It was nothing like the expression she wore in board meetings. Okay. And if you send me 47 messages tonight, I'm canceling. I won't. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. One new text from her. Thank you for saying yes. I looked up. She was still standing 3 feet away. You just texted me. That was one. Madeline. She walked backward toward the elevator. 46 remaining. I laughed. Go home. The elevator opened. She stepped inside, then raised her phone. Another message arrived. Message 2. Wear the blue shirt tomorrow. I typed back before the doors closed. Message 3. Stop deciding my clothes. Her reply came immediately. Message 4. Fine, but I like the blue one. The doors shut. I stood there smiling at my phone like an idiot. Then another message appeared. Message 5. Also Cody? I waited. Message 6. I meant every one of the original 47. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. A week ago, I probably would have panicked. 2 days ago, I would have wondered whether she was crossing another line. Now I typed the only answer that felt right. Good. Because tomorrow, you can tell me number 48 in person. 3 dots appeared, then stopped. For once, Madeline Cross had nothing to say, and I liked knowing I could still do that to her.